Opening night, it's opening night. It's Broadway's latest show. Will it flop or will it go? The cast is taking their final bow. Here comes the audience now. The doors are open, they're on their way. Let's hear what they have to say. The lights dim, the chatter falls. The curtain opens. A lone figure takes the stage and begins to sing. Ladies and gentlemen, the show that's about to be performed may not have lights, it may not have cameras, but it sure has action. Hold on to your ticket stubs as I take you for a wild and, of course, musical ride featuring Broadway musicals. First, we'll dance through the history of Broadway. Then, we'll hit the high notes of their evolution and their impact on a few nation-changing eras. And finally, we'll stroll down the Great White Way to see what shows are being performed today. Now first, in the early 1900s, there was no radio, no television, and no internet. But that also meant that there was absolutely no YouTube, Animal Planet, or Car Talk. How did people survive? They turned to the only option available, live entertainment. And if you wanted the best live entertainment and were willing to pay for the best, Broadway was the way to go. Now, as Broadway started to grow and expand, theaters opened on places that weren't technically on Broadway Street, but were still part of the Great White Way as a whole. But why exactly is Broadway known as the Great White Way? Well, in 1901, Shep Friedman, a columnist for the New York Morning Telegraph, was writing an article, and he saw that a blizzard had blanketed Broadway with snow, making the entire street look white. Therefore, in his article the next morning, he dubbed it the Great White Way, and the name, unlike the weather, seemed to stick. But now it doesn't refer to snow. Instead, it refers to the blinking lights and billboards that light up Broadway at night, making it shine. But now that we've taken a look at the history of Broadway, we can now see some individual musicals and how they have shaped the generations they've been in. You see, they portrayed current trends or beliefs when they were released. For example, in the 70s, one might conclude that with a hot set of wheels and slick oiled hair, a guy could get any girl. That is, if he's got some overhead lifters and some barbell quads. Oh yeah, Grease Lightning, go Grease Lightning. That's right. The hit musical Grease, Grease, came to theaters in 1972, appropriately on Valentine's Day, because Grease is the story of Sandy and Danny, two teenagers who fall in love. Now, Grease was very popular and held the record for Broadway's longest-running musical for over a decade, and it's still popular today. I'm sure that if one of you goes up to your closet, you'll find that dusty leather jacket, or that flirty pink poodle skirt. Well, maybe that's just me. Either way, Grease remains a light-hearted, teen-focused musical that will continue to entrance generations to come. But apart from more enjoyable musicals, there are also some serious ones as well. Take, for instance, Arthur Lawrence's West Side Story. Now, West Side Story is the tale of Romeo and Juliet set in the mid-1950s in New York. And it also deals with important themes. Not only is there the romance theme, but it also deals with gang violence, immigration, and racism. By tackling all these themes, we can see that in the song America, two Puerto Rican immigrants argue over the advantages and disadvantages of an immigrant American lifestyle by saying, life can be bright in America, if you can fight in America. Life is alright in America, if you're all white in America. Even though these songs seem very light, upbeat, there is a serious message, which is exactly why musicals like West Side Story exist. But apart from serious musicals, there are also ones with recognizable tunes. For example, now, if you didn't recognize that tune, it was from the hit musical Fiddler on the Roof. Now, Fiddler on the Roof, just like Grease, was extremely popular and also held record for Broadway's longest-running musical for over a decade. But not only was it popular, it was also economically successful. For every $1 they spent on the musical, it brought in a whopping $1,567, which I'm sure made Reptevia very happy. But now that we've taken a look at some of the more historic musicals, let's see one that came out just 3 years ago. Avenue Q has been called Sesame Street for adults. They are human, but they also have their puppet counterparts. And these lovable puppets don't just sing, dance, and teach us about numbers, letters, and life lessons. No. Here's an example from Avenue Q.
I'm kind of pretty and pretty darn smart. I like romantic things like music and art. And as you know, I have a gigantic heart. So why don't I have a boyfriend? It's best to be me.
But the amazing thing about Broadway is not only can you sit back, relax, and enjoy the show, you can also create your own musicals and maybe even perform them, even if it's only in your bedroom, in the shower, or in front of the entire Miramani Public Speaking family. Here's my rendition of Avenue Q. I'm in a class called Speech and Debate. When I get up to talk, I can feel whatever I ate. And God forbid if I get to my round late. Oh, I give my speeches in desperation. But wait, that's an exaggeration. Now, I know this is going to sound extremely cheesy, but I'm having fun. And that's exactly what Broadway is about. Fun, entertainment, an escape from reality. As Roger DeBreeze from Mel Brooks' 1970s musical The Producers quipped, "The theater's so obsessed, with drama so depressed, it's hard to sell a ticket on Broadway. Shows should be more pretty, shows should be more witty, and shows should do what they're designed to do. Captivate the audience, capture the spirit of an era, stimulate an entire generation." Now, as we all know, where there's a will, there's a way. And where there's a way, you will find Broadway. Broadway has existed for 2 centuries, but is still growing and thriving, which makes it timeless. Now, I hope that every single one of you has the opportunity to attend a Broadway musical at one point in your lifetime, because the feeling of watching quality live entertainment isn't comparable to anything else. Whether you're in the front row or up in the balcony where you're likely to find me, it's an amazing feeling, because that feeling is truly one singular sensation that you will never forget. And now I leave you with the parting words of Julie Andrews. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, adieu, goodbye.